Morning, everybody. Welcome to Chassidus in the morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. We'll start off by giving tzedakah. Gedel tzedakah shemakar zagula mitzvah Hashem. And we had the great news that two hostages were released. Well, weren't released. Were rescued by the good work of the soldiers and by all the davening and all the learning and all the efforts that the Yidden around the world have been putting in to help these things come about. And thank you, of course, to the Eibishter, which makes it all possible. We'll start off by focusing that this learning will be in honor of Misatrusta Tomer ben Orly. The Mitzvah Hashem should be healthy and safe, and we should continue hearing good news. Okay, so Maamer Tesla Zayin. We started discussing that basically, and this is a whole few Maamerim that we're discussing about the issue of, in essence, you could say the issue of not recognizing yourself and being honest with yourself. This is a very important part of Chassidus, that we have to be honest with ourselves. And this is sort of what we're talking about. And so even though we might be very good at certain things, but if we look at it in the wrong light, it could be very detrimental. And in a simple sense, if you don't recognize you have an issue, you can never fix the issue. And these are fundamental issues that we might not recognize them as fundamental issues, but they are. And this is sort of what we're seeing. And so basically we're talking about, especially we're focusing here about a ben Torah, which is someone that learns a lot, has the ability to learn, and does learn. And this is why it's very like a refined idea, because we're talking about someone that's very good in very many aspects. There's only a few little issues, you could say, and the issues are, in the scheme of things, you would say not so bad. But the Rebbe Shab is pointing out that these issues are actually very, very bad and need to be resolved. And so what does it mean in terms of us? So, I'm not a ben Torah, and I'm not learning all day, and I'm not able to daven properly, and I don't get excited when I say Tehillim. How does it apply to me? But this is why it's important to learn Chassidus well, and to learn it a few times to understand the concept, to have a bina, which is bina is l'havin dav miterch davar, to be able to extrapolate. So say, well, how do I apply this to my own self? Now, if you don't learn first, you don't have the chachma, you don't have the idea properly. So then when you try to do the bina, you try to apply it to yourself, you'll apply it wrongly, and then you'll get a totally wrong interpretation. It's like a lot of times people read things like this, and they think, this is telling you you're the worst person. I never heard him say you're the worst person. He's just saying some truths, and we have to pay attention to those truths and take that and figure out how to apply it to our situation. Anyway, let's continue inside. And bottom of page 241 in the green version from Kasa. Like it says in the beginning, Hashem, like on Bereshis Bara, Hashem created, and rabbis explain, what does that mean? It means Bishvil Hatera, Shenikres Rashis, Bishvil Yisrael, Shenikor Rashis. Why does it say Bereshis, which is base Rashis? Because there's two beginnings, there's two Rashis, two beginnings. What are they? One of them are Yisrael and Torah. We are sort of the beginning, the head, the purpose. The purpose of the world is to have Yidden and Torah. What does that mean? It means that through us learning Torah, the two Rashis, the Yidden, us and learning Torah, the other Rashis, we raise up, because what's a Torah? Torah Hashem's will and wisdom. And this is sort of the purpose, to be in this physical world with all the challenges and the trials and tribulations of having to deal with the world, having to get a job, having to go to bed, having to eat and sleep and have relationships and take care of our emotional needs and all these things. And we manage to fit in some time to learn Torah and to connect with the Torah, which is ultimately connecting with Hashem. This is why the world was created. This is why, and this is how. And how do we see this? By the fact that the Torah starts with Bereshis, base Rashis. And he explains it further. This is a very famous Chassidic idea, especially with the Rebbe. It is b'zayah, like it says in the Zayah, Talask, Shirin, Miskashin, Dabada. There's three connections that are all interconnected. You have Yisrael, Miskashim, Baraisa, the Jewish people connect with the Torah, Baraisa, V'kucha Berchu, and the Torah connects with Hashem. So through us connecting with the Torah, we're connecting with Hashem. So they're all three interconnected. Shal Yedei, and he explains, Shal Yedei, Imtza Iyus. HaTorah, through the intermediary of Torah, Miskashim, Nesham, Yisrael, Elikus, we connect on Hashem with Elikus. The famous image for this is the Aleph. The Aleph, you have there's two yuds and a line. One yud is the Jewish people, and the other yud is Hashem. And how do we bridge the gap between us and Hashem? It's through the line, which is different opinions, different ways of explaining it. But one of them is that it's Torah. And through us learning Torah, we connect to Hashem. A Maamer, like it says in the Zayah, Al pasuk asara kaf 10 is the spoon. And what does there explain? Shasara hadibres mechuvanim neged asamamar. So the 10 dibres, the 10 dibres, the 10 sayings that we had by Har Sinai that we just heard, and we had it recently in the Parsha, is connected to the 10 utterances of the world. Meaning there's the world and then there's Torah, and they're sort of two separate things, but they're both 10s. And we're saying we're taking the 10 dibres, meaning the Torah, and bringing them to the 10 utterances, the world, bring the Torah into the world. And this is what we're meant to be doing. This is all our Veda. Rabbi saying Hashem made a condition with creation, with the world, when he created the world. And he said, if we will take upon ourselves to fulfill Hashem's Torah, mutav, so good, the world's good. But of him love, but if they won't, if we say, hey, you know what? All the Jewish people say, we're not doing Torah, we're done. Yeah, that's not for me. What happens? The world will be returned back to chaos, but I guess as if it won't be created. You'll get rid of the world. Meaning to say that the whole reason why the world was created was for us to do Torah mitzvahs and to learn Torah and to connect with Hashem through Torah. That's why Hashem made the world, and this is everything. So when we come and we sit down and like we're doing now, and we learn some Torah, this is why the world is created. If we would not do these things, then there's no purpose in the world, which is a wild thing. The purposes in the world is when we are sitting there and learning Torah. And every day that we get up and we learn Torah, and we learn, and we learn it properly. We don't just sit down and read through it and don't know what we just said, but we learn it and we try to understand it. We go over it maybe a few times to really get it. That's the purpose. That's everything. To the extent that if we wouldn't do this, the world is not worth existing, which is wild. A world that we could never even imagine exploring that much. And we still, after so many years and so much science and novelties, there's so much stuff they haven't found. And if we, and all that is all because, all in order that we will sit down and learn some Torah. Maamer was in the Rabbi saying, Shemais Rabbah. Al pasuk eila toldes hashamayim va'aretz bibaram. This is the toldes. This is like the story of the heaven and the earth that he created. Eila bischus min nivro, that the world, the heaven and the earth, why were they created? Ubischus mi emdin, and why do they continue to be created, continue to exist? So what's the answer? Bischus eila shemesh bnei Yisrael. The eila meaning these are the names, the Jewish people. We're talking about in the beginning of Pashas Shmos, Eila Shmos Bnei Yisrael. These are the names of Jewish people coming to Mitzrayim. So what we're saying is, what the Medrash is explaining, that what Eila tells, these are the offspring, saying the purpose of the creation of the world, the heavens and the earth, is for Eila, is for the Jewish people. And with what? It's the Eidus Chulchem Mishpatim, like we learned in last week's Parashah. It's all about the Torah mitzvahs. It's about fulfilling the mitzvahs, that the world was created and it continues to exist because of us that do Torah mitzvahs. Again, this is very powerful stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of us, when we learn this, we don't see what he's saying here. So we're just like, yeah, whatever, this same stuff. But what he's showing us, the whole purpose of us being created, is the world being created is for us. For us to do Torah mitzvahs. So when we do Torah mitzvahs, we're fulfilling the purpose of creation. And therefore, Amru, and that's why, going back to the point of not machzik tov la'atzmai, don't hold ourselves too highly, because we have to recognize that this is why we're here. Ki ikar brias adam hu b'shvil Torah, because the main creation of a person is to learn Torah. And Kamesh God, like it says in Koheles, seif davar hakol nishma. At the end of the day, as Elikim Yoreh, you should fear Hashem. As Mitzvah Shema, you should do His mitzvahs. This is the whole purpose of man. This is why we're here. And therefore, after all that we said, that we recognize that the purpose of creation for us, the whole world was created for us to do Torah mitzvahs, and we do Torah mitzvahs. It's with valuable everything. That's why we say this is who's Elu. It's the Jewish people. The whole purpose, the reason why the heavens and the earth stay in existence, because of us doing Torah mitzvahs. So therefore, when we do Torah mitzvahs, when you're doing what the purpose of your creation is, we shouldn't be satisfied with ourselves. Also, when we have the love and dveikus, it's so we have this love and this cleaving and all these good feelings when we're davening. So he's saying it shouldn't just satisfy us like I'm good. Because this is the whole purpose of why we created. This is the whole purpose that we should be elevated to Torah and Avodah. Canal commotion is bar Maamer Aleph Gimel. This is right back in the beginning. In idea, we talked about over there the whole purpose of all creation. And so what we're showing is that after we understand all this in this context, so we have to. So the emotion that it should produce, the feeling it should produce when we do Torah mitzvahs, is not of pride and self-satisfied. It should be more of a movement. We want to keep on going. We want to do this better. We want more connection. Not I'm good. I learned Torah today. I'm good. I'm done. Now, of course, nothing's wrong with being happy when you learn Torah, but it's the feeling of like I'm done. I'm good. Now I can go and put my feet and go watch movies. It's not what we're saying. We're saying it should motivate you to be doing more. And he explains, this that we become self-satisfied. What does that show? That we didn't have the bittul. We haven't infused godliness within ourselves, that there's me and then there's my job. There's God and I. We're two separate things. And therefore, I did what you wanted me to do. I did the dishes, so to speak. And I'm good. Now let me go do my own thing. Let me play my video games. Let me watch my movies. I learned my daf yomi. I davened. I learned. I did my chesed hours. I clogged it in, and I'm done. I'm finished. Hare lo higia el tachlis anirtza. This is not where we want to go. This is not the ultimate. And therefore, if we feel this way, I'm like, I'm done. I did everything. I'm good. Now I'm free to do whatever I want. Then it should bother us. It should, so to speak, hurt us. This is not the ultimate purpose. If that's how we're going to treat it, it's a transactional relationship between us and God. Like my friend says, it's a gumball machine. You put in a quarter, I do a mitzvah, then I turn, I should get a gumball. I should get something for this. What's my reward for my mitzvah I did? And that's how we're doing everything. You convince kids to do things, with the rewards. If you do your homework, you gotta treat. That's how our relationship with God is. But specifically, specifically, what if you're not careful with things? I feel divine kalim shalafi my lasa gedalim hima kanal. But even little things, but according to this level of a person, that's such a high level we're talking about. It's not good. How much more so we do something that's a chil Hashem. If someone is such a high level and does a chil Hashem, it's the worst. And he's saying it's better you're not created. Like you're embarrassing Hashem. You're making Hashem's name bad. Because if you wouldn't daven and learn, remember the case of this person is someone that's very learned and knows how to daven, knows how to really connect to Hashem. Because that's the worst. Because if he wouldn't do any of those things, at least there wouldn't be a chil Hashem. And the whole reason why the whole issue exists, and he has a chil Hashem and does all these things, is because he's a Veda and davening alone is not proper. But if it was true, therefore, if it was really proper and it had this bittul like we're talking about, they recognize he's serving Hashem. And thought self-serving, so then he wouldn't hold himself so highly and take all this credit for themselves. It wouldn't be self-satisfied. For sure, be very careful with all the details. Meaning it's like I saw once this guy say, he was sort of making fun of Lubavitch. So one of the things he said, he goes, in Chabad, there's no big learners, there's no Talmidei Chacham. You don't hear about any Talmidei Chacham in Lubavitch. So it reminds me of a story. I'll finish off with this. That I think it was this past Purim or 2 Purims ago. There was a bacher. There's a bacher man saying, I heard this like it happened like a year or 2 ago. I heard from the guy that his son was there. And they went with Tzayim in near Flatbush area. And I came near the end of the day and I had to go do the Purims and everything. So I ended up finding a house, a Litvish house. And the guy let him come in and make their suda, eat a little bit, and they had plenty of l'chaim, the bachrim. So the guy started cursing them out. He said, "Oh, Lubavitch doesn't know how to learn. He don't learn anything." So there's one bachrim that he knew how to learn, and this is such a typical Lubavitch story. He knew how to learn. He knew the whole shas, the whole Gemara from back to front. But normally he would never say anything. The bachrim didn't even know about it. But he was very drunk, and the guy was like, he kept on telling them, "Oh, you guys know how to learn. You waste your time with time all day, and you just drink." So he said to him, "Pull out a Gemara." And so the guy was like, well, "What are you gonna impress me?" He pulled out a Gemara, and he starts reading. And the Bacha starts reading verbatim, and he goes, "Pull another one." And any Gemara, and the guy was shocked. He didn't know what to do himself. And every Gemara they pulled out, his Bacha just keeps on going, and he's like, "The guy knows the whole shot." It's and he goes, "I'm really sorry what I said. I take back what I said." So this answers the guy's question. In Lubavitch, people know how to learn. They just don't say anything. Because it's not machzik telatzim. It's not about why am I learning? It's not for everyone else. It's like a guy said recently that he came, like a person grew up from in very holy places, but didn't learn any chassidus, and he heard very bad things about Lubavitch. And he started learning chassidus. He found by chance a thing of chassidus, and he's like, it changed my life. He goes, it used to be all about myself. My whole davening, my learning, everything was about me. And now I realize it's Hashem. Now it's about him. And this is what we're saying here. When we're davening and learning and doing all the good things, but it becomes about us and only about us, and it doesn't, and we're not about thinking about Hashem, we're missing the point. Just finish it off, even a little late, sorry. And this is all the spirit of folly that it covers over. She's Gaia milimuda, and it causes us to feel good about our learning. Is very self-satisfied and very highly. And Kitzer, Hageus, he shtus. This self-aggrandizement, arrogance is this folly, or this stupidity. All our ability to daven and learn, we should be very thankful for Hashem when we do it. We learn a lot, we daven a lot. We shouldn't be like, I'm so good. You should say, thank you, Hashem, for giving me the ability that I can do this, and I can calculate this, and I can understand what I'm learning. And this is the bittul, this is the right path, when you do it that way. And that was the whole purpose I was created. So glad I can feel the purpose. To be able to recognize what your mission to fulfill it is the greatest feeling. It's not a feeling of self-aggrandizement, but it's a feeling of purpose and meaning, the connection. And this is what we're meant to be doing when we daven and learn. And this is we hold ourselves. We self-satisfaction. It shows we didn't reach it. We didn't get to the point. And someone that is arrogant, he causes a chil Hashem. So Hashem, by all of us, we should recognize our purpose, and we should feel good when we do the right thing, and not be self-satisfied and not be arrogant. Chas v'shalom. None of those negative things, but it should motivate us to continue going more and be thankful for Hashem and more connected to Hashem and things in that direction. Have an amazing day.